How to stop apologizing for having standards. The scandal of the century, having standards. Wanting consistency, oh, what a red flag. Expecting communication, oh, they're so needy. Refusing to entertain someone who only texts at 2 a.m. like an emotionally illiterate raccoon. Outrageous. Have you entertained these thoughts? I don't want to seem too high maintenance. Maybe I'm asking for too much. I just want them to like me. Dear friends, you're not asking for too much. You're simply asking the wrong people. And because those people benefit from your silence, they've convinced you that your voice is a threat. I'm Dylan Moore, author, cognitive behavior specialist, and devoted advocate for women's empowerment and men's emotional healing. In this discourse, let's unveil transformative strategies to restore your balance, reclaim your power, and anchor you in unshakable strength. Together, we'll unravel the absurd social expectations that have trapped us in a labyrinth of self-imposed chaos, while exposing inherited beliefs that gaslight us into self-doubt. Let's dismantle the emotional nonsense we've been conditioned to accept as normal. Now, let's talk about why you keep apologizing for standards. If you find yourself backpedaling every time you express a boundary, consider the following. You were raised to be agreeable, not authentic. So when you speak your truth, it feels like rebellion. You were taught that being wanted was more important than being respected. So you learn to shrink. You equate standards with rejection because when you started asking for more, people started giving you less. You confuse kindness with self-abandonment. One nurtures you, the other depletes you. You're afraid of being labeled too much, when in reality, you've just been surrounded by people who offer too little. Now, some clinical insight on core beliefs and boundary guilt. Therapeutically speaking, this is often the result of a distorted core beliefs, particularly around self-worth and relational safety. In CBT, this is known as boundary guilt. A belief that enforcing your needs will lead to abandonment or conflict. So instead of advocating for yourself, you apologize for existing. But setting standards doesn't make you difficult, it makes you discerning. And discernment is the love language of the healed. Let's unpack the hidden cost of making yourself easy to love. If you water yourself down, who actually gets to know you? If you avoid discomfort, what relationships are you allowing to continue unchallenged? If you never say what you want, how can anyone ever meet your needs? If you keep apologizing for your expectations, what are you really teaching others about your worth? Because a relationship built on silence is nothing but performance art, and you, darling, are not here to perform. Now, how to reclaim your standards without guilt or explanation. Name your standards without justification. This is what I need, is a complete sentence. Practice tolerating the discomfort of being misunderstood. Not everyone needs to agree to validate your truth. Stop managing their reactions. If your standards sent them running, let them run. That's not rejection, it's redirection. Speak your needs calmly, clearly, and unapologetically. The right people will rise to meet you. Affirm your worth daily because the world will try to convince you to lower your standards. Don't let it. Why these steps actually work, psychologically speaking. In CBT, we call this cognitive restructuring, the practice of replacing self-defeating thoughts with empowering truths. By challenging the core belief that I must be easygoing to be loved, you begin to rewire your emotional responses to boundary setting. This activates self-advocacy over self-abandonment, building new neural associations between safety and self-expression. The more you act in alignment with your worth, the less apologetic you become for having it. And now, a most dazzling realization. You were never too much. You were simply too awake for people who prefer their connections dimly lit. Let them call you picky. Let them call you demanding. The truth? You're just no longer available for emotional breadcrumbs or performative affection. So tell me, who told you that your standards were a liability? And who might you become if you started treating them like a crown? Drop a like or comment below. Let's normalize boundaries as an act of self-respect, not rebellion. Together we rise, together we thrive. Let's rise fierce into a new life of personal power and freedom.